Hi, welcome to Regan Real Reviews. My name is Kathleen Regan. I am an actor, filmmaker, and a writer, and I watch a lot of film and TV, and these are my opinions. There may be some spoiler alert, so if you don't want to be spoiled, watch at your own risk. Today I'm just going to review one film, and that is a feature film that's out there right now called Anemone, which is co-written and starring Daniel Day-Lewis and directed by his eldest son, Ronan Day-Lewis. However, I want to address something first. I was having a little chat back and forth via text with my friend, and she thanked me for doing the recent review on the series Wayward. And Wayward, if you know, I liked it. I didn't give it 5 stars, but I thought it was good. But I really gave a lot of praise to Mae Martin, who they are the director, creator, showrunner, star of this entire series, and I just love them. I can't wait till they do some more things. And my friend was like, I didn't know, he was transgender. They were transgender. And I thought, yeah, I didn't mention that. And the reason I didn't mention that is because it really wasn't important to the story, right? It had no bearing if they were transgender or if they were an alien or if they were, a white male. It didn't matter. And I think a lot of times LGBTQ are put as an issue in the movie. Their sexuality, their sexual orientation is an issue. Like, oh my God, we have to deal with this. Oh, the big thing. Oh, we don't like them because they're this. It's always an issue. This is not an issue. This is a great actor and director and writer just doing what they do. And it's not important about their sexual orientation. It doesn't matter. So that's why I didn't mention it. So I hope you watch it and let me know what you think as well. Okay, Anemone. So I give it 1 reel. Now, my brother told me years ago, he said, if you're going to give like negative feedback to someone, right, telling them something maybe not so nice, you make it a compliment sandwich, right? You put a compliment up front, you put a compliment in the back, and then you put the nasty stuff in the middle. So that is what I'm going to attempt to do with Anemone. Again, this is starring and co-written by Daniel Day-Lewis, who we all love. His eldest son is co-writer and director Ronan Day-Lewis. It also stars Sean Bean, who I think is incredible, Samantha Morton, and I apologize, I forget the young boy's name as well, a 20-year-old boy. But there's basically 4 characters, that's it. And what the plot is that Daniel Day-Lewis is this hermit, lives in the backwoods in England in this like little shack, been there for, I think they kind of said 20 years. His brother, Sean Bean, leaves the town, says goodbye to Samantha Morton, leaves the town and tries to find his brother for, we don't know why at first, right? But we know he hasn't seen his brother in a long time because he has the coordinates of where he's living in this like Ziploc baggie that he has to like peel open. So you kind of get the idea he hasn't seen him in a while, right? So he goes to find his hermit brother and has to bring him back to town. So the whole movie is trying to uncover why he's coming back to town, why he left town, right? So compliment sandwich. So the movie is visually stunning. Very well done from a visual perspective. The shots in the scenery of England and the mountains and the water and the sun and the sunsets and the coloring and the drone work that you can see all of this, just beautiful. I mean, it was a stunning movie. There were parts in there that I even thought like the nature sounds were just really spot on, right? There was this huge hailstorm at one point. I'm talking like I'll get to that later, like hail like this big. Just the sound itself was it was great. It was enveloping. It kind of, you loved it. It had sound of wind that was just beautiful. So there's the compliment up front. This movie wasn't good. It just wasn't. And I so wanted to be good. As a matter of fact, I paid for a ticket not only to see this when it premiered at the New York Film Festival. I saw it somewhere else, but it was the same week it premiered. But I also paid to go to the talkback afterwards with Ronan Day-Lewis and Daniel Day-Lewis and Sean Bean. I couldn't wait for this. I was so excited, and I did not like it at all. I felt like, first of all, there's not a lot of dialogue at all. So I'm not sure. It took 4 years for Ronan and Daniel Day-Lewis to write this. I'm not sure what took 4 years. There's not a lot of dialogue at all, and only dialogue really, and only real monologues, except for one small one that Samantha has. The only monologues are Daniel Day-Lewis's, which, don't get me wrong, I can listen to him all day, but listening to him all day doesn't make a film. doesn't make a good story, doesn't make it interesting, right? So there was not a lot of writing. There was some really odd scenes. Like there was like this talking ice sculpture, this woman floating, and they're not explained. You have no idea why they're there. They're not explained. You don't understand it. There were other inconsistencies as well. And based on those two kind of odd things, you don't know if these were supposed to be odd as well. Like this hailstorm I told you about, hail this big. Okay, first of all, there's not hail that big. And if they are, I apologize if it's somewhere else. I've never seen it, never heard about hail the size of bigger than a baseball. I never saw it. But this hailstorm's coming and everyone in town is like, oh my God, what's happening, right? However, it doesn't break any windows. I think it breaks maybe a car window, but like nothing else like really happens, right? It's got this wind and, like I said, the sound is amazing and all this stuff, and it doesn't really break anything. And then, Daniel Day-Lewis and his brother, Sean Bean, come out of the shack afterwards the next day, and these tiny little flowers, which by the name of the flower is Anemone, which is the name of the film. Now, these flowers are shown for about a hot second, so I'm not really sure why they named the entire film after those. But whatever. They come out after the storm, and these tiny little flowers are sitting off the stems, just perfectly perched on the ground. And they're like, my flowers. Okay, first of all, those things would have been halfway to the United States, like with that wind and that storm. There's no way they'd be sitting perfectly right on a path. Okay, that's not happening. Okay. There were other kind of inconsistencies there. There was also some technical things. One in particular, there was a scene where they're sitting at a bar and there's a big bay window. And one part of the scene, they're sitting here and you're just looking out. The other one, there's a payphone out there and Sean Bean's at the payphone. There's a hedge by the payphone. And at one point in the left-hand side, I see someone's head bobbing over the hedge. And I'm like, it's like a crew. It happened like twice. Then there was like a small movement over here, like maybe it was a boom or something. It was some like little technical things. You're like, really? The other things that kind of brought me out was this 20-year-old young man in the beginning. He's seen at the beginning, very beginning, and he's laying on his bed and he's like this, and he's very upset, and he's wearing this like striped t-shirt or t-shirt with stripes on it, and his knuckles are all bloody and like he had just gotten in a fight. And they're raw and they're bloody, right? And Sean Bean says something and kind of leaves, right? So then a few days pass. Well, we know it's a few days because Sean Bean's going through the woods and it's day and night, right? We see this. And they show this young lad again, and he's got the same shirt on, and his knuckles are still bloody. You didn't wash in how many days, right? So then fast forward another couple days. The kid's got the same shirt on and the same bloody knuckles. It just didn't make sense. And maybe that's me being picky as someone who's a filmmaker. But let me tell you, if I am not sitting there picking out things, then that means I'm totally engrossed in what I'm watching. And the fact that I am noticing all these things the first time around, right? Sometimes I notice them like the second time I watch them. And yes, I do watch things 2 or 3 times, even if I don't like them, because I want to figure out why I don't like them. If I am picking these things out immediately, then this did not hold my attention at all. So that, that was it. So also, I heard that Steven Spielberg was sort of a mentor for Ronan Day-Lewis and gave him advice on this film. And I think that's great. I think if you can pull on the powers that be, I think that's wonderful. And Ronan Day-Lewis, I mean, good for you. This is your first feature right out of school. He went to Yale. After Yale, he started writing this with his father, and I think he said he traveled Europe as a painter because his mother is Rebecca Miller, if you don't know that, and Rebecca Miller's father is Arthur Miller. Big shoes to fill, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, he must have called on Steven Spielberg to give advice on this film. Not sure if Steven got a rough cut of this and gave it a thumbs up, but I tend to think not. I felt like Ronan has really good ideas, but I felt like when you talk to a lot of college students, and I did this myself after college, is when you talk to them and I don't care what subject they studied, right? The first conversation we have with them after they graduate, they throw everything that they learned about that subject in one conversation, whether it was a part of that conversation or not. And you sit there talking to them going, yeah, great. Yeah, Ronan, you don't have to throw everything that you learned into one film, right? We want to see more from you. You don't need to give us everything up. Don't give us everything up front, right? Don't give us everything up front. Okay, the compliment on the back end. I did see these three gentlemen, Sean Bean, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Ronan Day-Lewis, in a talk back afterwards. And a lot of times when you go see maybe someone that you idolize in a talk back and you're really excited, sometimes it can be really disappointed. You can figure out that maybe, they're egotistical or unintelligent, and you're like, ugh, why did I go to that talk back? I was glad I went to this one, not because of the moderator, because the moderator did not ask great questions, or questions in general that made sense. And after she called Sean Bean Sean Penn a few times, the moderator aside, all three of these gentlemen to me were humble, grateful to be there, grateful to be in this feature, grateful to be accepted, and just got along well. Daniel Day-Lewis himself, well, I got a sense of him being humble. I also got a sense of this confidence that was not only very grounded, but he knew what he wanted to say and what he didn't want to say. And it wasn't superior, it wasn't condescending, it wasn't elusive. He was just very grounded. You could tell he was very proud of his son. He would look at him in a way, that was just kind of like a proud daddy. Sean Bean, also very grounded, humble. And what I liked about Ronan Day-Lewis too is, yes, humble as well. I'm going to use that word again, but there was an extra feeling that he was surprised he was there, and he probably felt like he shouldn't be on this stage. He was so grateful. So I really appreciated that from all the gentlemen. All the gentlemen on that stage, I thought, answered the questions appropriately. Then there were questions. They helped each other out. One of the things that Daniel Day-Lewis said, and John Bean's character listens a lot, right? Because Daniel has a lot of these monologues. He listens a lot. And Daniel said, that's a lost art amongst actors. Really actively listening in the moment is a lost art. And I agree with him. It is very hard, especially for 2 hours and 10 minutes, to do nothing but listen and be in the moment and react. Really just react. And Sean Bean does it expertly. Also, I will go back to this film when it's free, and I will fast forward to the many monologues that Daniel Day-Lewis has, because just watching those monologues is a masterclass in how to perform a monologue. The depth and that he got in these monologues were they were perfection. So yeah, there's my compliment sandwich. And so yeah, one reel. But let me know what you think. If you go see it in the theater, good for you. If you wait for it on streaming, either way, let me know what you think. And thanks for watching Reel Reviews.